Oh yes, reticulating splines. Signal boosting. Defragmenting. What? How many things can you do except work? Terminal, please. Thank you. Almost. Maybe. Functional. Could be. Maybe not. Maybe yes. All right, well, at least the ambiance is working, but what about my chat? My containment hazard assessment team is not live. Or they're probably watching me fuddle with this computer right now because this terminal wants to misbehave. I hope you're doing well, containment hazard assessment team, while I struggle, probably much to your amusement. Maybe, with a little bit of luck, this thing will actually function. And then I pop over here, and I fiddle with that knob, and I pop into here, and this setting changes. And I pop down to here, and all systems are go, it seems. Finally! Hello there, Site 42 staff, as well as those of you from the greater SCP Foundation community. And welcome to another Coffee Break with Dr. Sherman, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site 42. As always, I am Dr. Theron Sherman, Site Director here at Site 42 of the SCP Foundation. And as I have done for the last nearly 11 months straight, because the daily stream streak must remain strong, I am here to open my office door to you, the SCP Foundation staff, to answer your burning questions about this dark and mysterious place of employment we call the SCP Foundation. So whether you have questions about the anomalies we contain, the staff who contain them, the groups of interest who try to stop us from containing them, or hypothetical containment procedures about anomalies that fall outside of the SCP Foundation's purview, perhaps from a different multiverse or pataphysical narrative level, i.e. fandom. Either way, we are here for the next 90 minutes to speak on the subject. But before I begin, let me start with our standard housekeeping. First of all, an intern by the name of, I believe, Lily Not Found. Congratulations on being our most punctual member of today's Containment Hazard Assessment team, i.e., congratulations on being first chatter. Secondarily, Amber. Clover. Long time no see, Clover. Hope you've been doing well. Aoki. Just Pits. Kilber. Froy. Everyone who I have just named, thank you for being here punctually, and thank you for being members of Site42 on YouTube. We appreciate your membership and your service. Furthermore, interns Tower Boy, Prototype, Quack Attack, Amber Tulip, and Rose Hill. Welcome to today's stream. Thank you for being here punctually, and thank you for being here today just for being you. Also, today's stream is sponsored. It is sponsored by our delightful Reservoir Docs t-shirt, conceptualized by myself, the site director of Site42, passed off to SCP artist Jade PNG of such great SCP art as some of that you will see in the game SCP Fragmented Minds, and created shirt-wise by friends of the channel, the scpstore.org. Go to scpstore.org and click on the Sherm Creator tab to get yourself the Reservoir Docs t-shirt featuring researchers Alto Clef, Kane Pathos Crow, Dr. Theron Sherman, Jeremiah Sumerian, Benjamin Kondraki, and William Wallace Weddle. A series of your favorite handsome and iconically designed SCP doctors for walking around, probably not committing crimes, please. Thank you to the scpstore.org for supporting Site42 merchandise. Thank you to Jade PNG for accepting the commission to make said art. And thank you to myself for coming up with a dope-ass idea for a design. Now, during my intro, I see Clover, welcome to your newly minted level 1 researchership here at Site42. We appreciate your newly minted membership and your service. Random Cookie Boy, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Go ahead and get yourself a glass of milk on your way past the commissary. And you're saying it's definitely the crime fiction tag. Oh, is that so? Well, we're about to find out. So, today's stream subject is quite simple. A matter of days ago, we were meant to talk about which of the SCP Foundation tags is the best tag. Unfortunately, that stream got severely sidelined, and we barely talked about tags at all. And so this is our homecoming. This is our redemption. Today's stream is attempt number 2 at finding the best tag on the SCP Wiki. We know that Cookie Boy has decided that it will be crime fiction, but I wonder if we'll find any more delightful tags. Maybe some that are even more delightful. We'll have to see. Intern El Alez, welcome to Site42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. But before we begin talking about what is the best tag, why don't we talk about what is a tag? When you go to the SCP database, for instance, maybe you'll be looking at the wonderful author page of a certain The Sherm. The author page and creator of Site42, it seems, maybe? Well, at the bottom of every tab, whether it be an author, whether it be a SCP or a tale, you'll find some tags. Now, if you look at an SCP document, like my first SCP I ever wrote, SCP-3086, you will see a list of tags that describe that SCP's attributes. In this case of 3086, you have audio, contagion, Euclid, info hazard, media, meta, narrative, as well as SCP. And if you click on any of these tags, it will bring you to a listing of SCPs that have those tags. This is the listing for info hazard I just clicked, and it seems info hazard has a total of 318 anomalies listed. But furthermore, it also brings you to the tag cloud. a list of every tag. Some of them are bigger because there are more things under them. Some of them, like license box, are really, really big because license box is tagged the most. A total of, a total of 15,686 pages are tagged as license box. For reference, there's only just over 10,000 tagged with SCP. So license box is by far and above the winner of most tags. But we're not here to talk about most tags. We are talking about best tags. And so, we are going to look through this tag cloud, myself on my browser, you all in your browsers, and we're going to find some fun ones. We're going to see what they refer to. We're going to see how many that thing has. Intern Gotta Boy, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. And Desk in the chat has shared the tag list, so you can go looking through the list of tags alongside us. Now, furthermore, I saw in the comments before we get into this, on the stream in which we discussed tags only very little before we got distracted, there is our resident, sometimes even more of an SCP expert than I am, or at least very good at searching the database, Intern DJ. And Intern DJ has dropped us information on the subject of tags, just in case you want to have more information down the line. To quote Intern DJ here, there are just under 50 SCPs that have their own individual tags. They either use the title of the article or the birth name rather than the number. For instance, SCP-999's tag is Tickle Monster. So as we go through the tags, we might see tags for SCPs that are so prominent and popular that they have their own tag. Probably Plague Doctor might be another one. Now, also, the tag list provides a sorted and easy way to understand lists of tags and their definitions and explanations. I'm going to go to the list page myself, if that's what Desk has listed, so that I too can utilize where is the link I'm looking for? That's going to the tag cloud, which is where I'm going. But if DJ Droge is saying that there's there's the list at the top. A comprehensive list of tags and what they mean. Major page tags, object classes, SCP attributes, genre, art, groups, group of interest formats, canons, series tags, character tags, location tags, content markers, staff process tags, event tags, and translation tags. So I'm going to keep the tag cloud open alongside this comprehensive tag guide. That way, we can look at both for our use. Let me just pop back to the chat for a second, check in on you guys before we begin the tag bloodbath. Now that I've found all of my links. Yes, the last thing DJ Droge had to say as well. Let's remember that there is requirements for making a tag on the SCP database. You can't just make your own tag. If you wish to propose a tag, you can propose it to the tag team. The top-level major page tags and content markers are made on a case-by-case process by staff. They are not given to the SCP community to put forward. But object class, genre theme, art tags, and SCP attribute tags require 25 articles by any number of authors in order to institute a tag. So to get a tag on the wiki, you need a lot of articles or tales talking about that individual thing, which, you know, that's quite a lot. You would have to be pretty dedicated to get your own tag if you push that forward. The groups, like Mobile Task Force, groups of interest, etc., characters and locations, they are much easier to get. To get a group of interests made and therefore to get a tag for it, you need 5 stories by 3 authors at a minimum. So it can't just be you. You have to include other people. This is a community project after all. It is recommended that you actually get 10 articles by 5 authors. That way it's really growing. It's not just something you're spearheading with 2 of your friends. But the minimum is 5 stories by 3 authors. Group of interest formats are automatically created when needed. You already have the group of interest for that. A canon. To create a canon on the SCP Wiki, you now, I guess, require 10 stories by 5 authors. So canons are a little harder of a lift to get up there. To make a series, you can have a series of 5 stories for a series if you have 3 authors involved. But if you want to write the series all by yourself, you get a series tag when you hit 10 stories. So it's either you can do it all alone, but you're going to have a heavier lift, or you can spread the effort among the community and make it easier. And of course, if you want to tag an event, you need to talk to community outreach about making an event. That has nothing to do with making things. Events are just individualized like that. Okay, so now that we have the info for tags that we lacked previously, now I've returned to the chat. Intern Barnes, is the ink machine an anomaly? The ink machine from Bendy and the ink machine is quite anomalous, yes. Is it possible for an SCP to work, like as a guard or a doctor or not? Yes. But it is rather difficult to get promoted and to prove your loyalty to the Foundation. But if you do, you might be promoted to staff. DJ, welcome to chat. We just finished going over your post. One that was added on May the 8th that I'm particularly interested in is Foundation personnel, because it provides an easy way to find our SCP coworkers. It's under SCP attribute. Interesting. I did not know that Foundation personnel had its own tag. Let me see what happens if I look up Foundation personnel. I mean, I feel as if most stories would have that, since most stories are within the Foundation, so I'm wondering if there's some sort of... SCP was employed by the Foundation prior to receiving an SCP designation, or was recruited as an employee after being contained. Also applies to anomalies that specifically affect one or more Foundation personnel. And so, I believe... there's an SCP called the Power of Love as its code name. I believe it's 3080. Yes, 3080 should be tagged as Foundation personnel, because it is, in fact, 2 Foundation personnel who their relationship became an anomaly. So, interesting that it's not in here. Yeah, with only 54 of these, it's interesting. I'm wondering how the Foundation personnel is laying this out, considering that 3080 is not listed. But then, are things like Clef listed? I guess Clef doesn't have an article. The closest would be 4231, but that doesn't really count. I wonder how that's justifying itself. Interesting. Intern Meowl, welcome to today's stream. Thank you for subscribing. Welcome to Site 42 staff. Intern Smith, I cannot help you if you ended up in the Infinite IKEA. I want to remind you all, there is only one door to the Infinite IKEA. There's only one IKEA in the world, and it is already closed because we closed it. So if you managed to fall in to the Infinite IKEA, that means you had to make a journey to a closed IKEA, bully your way past several security staff in order to get lost in there. Which means I'm not pulling you out. You did this to you. It's not as if you can fall into the SCP-3008 from any IKEA. Now, if you didn't do all of that I just said, then you're not trapped in the Infinite IKEA. You are just in a normal IKEA and lost. Find your way out. Intern Pudding, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Go ahead and get yourself a box of crackers on your way past the commissary. Had to stop my dad joining hot dog eating contests. Always brought out the worst in him. SCP, the dad father has made it that winning hot dog eating contest creates evil sausage based JoJo stands. So are you saying that Mobile Task Force Psi-42, who are canonically the best hot dog eating team in the Foundation, have JoJo stands? Does every member of Mobile Task Force Psi-42, codenamed Signal Boosters, have a JoJo stand now? I didn't even know. Congratulations, everybody! I wonder what your stand abilities are. Couldn't the Foundation use the Infinite IKEA as free real estate? What's the worst that could happen? It's free real estate. Intern Albatross. The Infinite IKEA SCP-3008, once you enter the door and you leave eyesight of the door disappears. It moves when you don't look at it, meaning that you are now trapped in the Infinite IKEA. It's not free real estate, it's a cockroach trap. Now, let me start with a couple of fun tags I found right out of the gate. So, obviously we started with Random Cookie Boy saying crime fiction is the best tag on the SCP Wiki. Now, if I pop down to crime fiction, which, you know, I do love me a little crime fiction, then there are 321 articles listed as crime fiction. Now, these are not all SCPs. In fact, I see 3 Marshall Carter and Dark stories. Sorry, 4 and counting. I see a whole lot of tales. 177 tales before we get to the SCPs. And then we go for only 78 to 213. That's 535? Huh. Only 35 crime fiction SCPs before we jump back into the tales and the UIU briefings before we finish the job. So interesting that crime fiction is so underrepresented in actual SCPs. All right. Crime fiction is a good starting point, but let's see what else we got. DJ says, the way tag proposals work is you leave a list of eligible articles. One person isn't going to know all the eligible articles. That's true. I'm wondering if I should submit 3080 for Foundation personnel, because it is 2 Foundation personnel who become anomalous. But anyways, the next tag that I'm going to bring our attention to in looking for the, quote, best tag, I am confused about a certain D-class, sorry, 2 D-class, who happen to have their own tags. Because down here, D11424 and D7294 both have their own tags. D-class with tags. I'm sorry? What did they do to earn that level of classification? I'm curious and I want to know. So D11424 is listed in 17 pages. The first tale is Numbers Like Stories Never Die. Then it is 15 SCP documents. And then there's a final tale just called Omega K. Isn't 7294 the one from the Containment Breach games? No, I believe that's 9341. D9341. Yes, D9341 is the D-class from Containment Breach, and SCP-9341, therefore, is the SCP that is based on Containment Breach. But popping back to D11424, let's see if we can find a story where they come from. Now, while I do this, let me just say really quickly, Agent Farm Shop Chronicles, welcome to Mobile Task Force Captainship here at Site 42. We appreciate your newly minted membership and your service. Just addressing a couple weird chats all at once. Number one, Alki, you're confused and panicking. At what? I don't see anything worth panicking about in the chat happening right now. I suggest taking a breath. Furthermore, DJ, D11424 is the Exploration D-class. He gets out of things no one can. Interesting. I was just noting that D11424's first anomaly comes out in SCP-2385. That's the first one of D11424's that I managed to pick. Let's get back to the page here. Boom. And then 3202. I'm wondering if the character ever gets fully characterized in any way. That's 3202. Due to his past experience with similar anomalies, Exploration Specialist D11424 was chosen to enter SCP-3202-1 next. Interesting. So we just have the D-class who explores spatial anomalies. And D11424 is provided with an insulated wetsuit, a knife, a flashlight, a camera. I wonder if everybody characterizes 11424 in a similar manner. Now I want to see if the fandom wikis have a... 3379 is titled D11424 and the Arctic Meat Hole of Infinite Wonders. The Arctic meat hole of infinite wonders. Okay. As I was saying, I wanted to check the fandom. Desk. Wouldn't a D class be an it because we use them like tools? Interesting. I do not know, logically here, if that's where we go with this. At least in 3379... at least in the 3379 documentation, D11424 is referred to as a he. I didn't think we went that direction with D-class as opposed to anomalies. Any dang ways. I'm looking for D11424. Fandom Wiki does have a page for D11424, but very, very little information, unfortunately. Okay, well, that was a fun little adventure into a character. Let me pop back to chat, see if there's anything I missed during the inspection of that tag. Do 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 do. All right, chat. First of all, Captain Farm Shop Chronicles, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as becoming a newly minted member. We appreciate your service and your generosity. Grab yourself a chicken sandwich on your way past the commissary. Dear Director Sherman, we will be investigating the tagging of D classes, attempting to pinpoint the employees responsible. Signed, your dearest internal investigations. Ah, aye. Good to have you aboard. Bro, this feels like talking to an actual celebrity, lol. Oh, intern Kyle, I'm blushing. You've got me here. Yes, I am well known throughout the Foundation. Site director Theron Sherman is a well-known property, well-liked. Nobody has problems with that guy. I did not assault that junior researcher. That was a false accusation in SCP 7777. Just so you know, I am not the type for that. So, yes, I'm happy to be here to interface with you guys and answer your questions. Intern Tie Guy. No, I don't have allegations. I had false allegations that were cleared. Read the SCP 7777 document. Okay, I'm double checking notifications here. Nikki Knackle, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. And thank you for making the effort to donate through our Ko-Fi. Ko-Fi, of course, as you know, only takes 3% of your donation, where a YouTube Super Chat takes 30%. So especially for larger donations, we appreciate you making the effort to go to the Ko-Fi. Make sure to grab yourself a nice... I say grab yourself a Froyo on your way past the commissary. Can that thing stop an 096 containment breach? Oh, you're talking about that thing. Also, hydrate of that thing will get you. P.S. Stop motion fan art coming soon if it is allowed. Stop motion is a very respectable art form, and I would love to see it. Just make sure the video works. Now I do have... You're gonna make me go to that thing's document again. In case you're unfamiliar, we refer to SCP... Let me steel myself here. SCP 729-J as that thing because it is a disgusting, horrid monstrosity and abomination that has far too much power than it should have. Now, we have cross-tested this anomaly with numerous anomalies, and one of those that we cross-tested it with was SCP-096. Allow me to read you the testing document for it. SCP-096 test. Effects. Data completely expunged. We did not show the test. Okay, why? Well, here's the research note from Dr. Seraphim. Poor 096. No one should be subjected to that cotton-stuffed eldritch horror. I agree. Long story short, 096 was in a state where it cared more about getting that piece of shit out of its container. I know! I'm upset about it too, Puppy of Interest 42. That thing's horrifying. Everyone knows it. And if you're under the chair, I can't show you to the chat. The baby agrees that SCP-729-J is absolutely the worst. And just wait until we get a training dummy of that thing to put her to work in combat training. Ugh. And now my allergy wipe. But before that, of course, a gift from the chat to the baby. Good girl. Good girl, Puppy of Interest 42, codename Charlie. Good girl. Everybody loves you. All right, now, for the purposes of allergies, okay. Where was I? Somewhere during the Puppy of Interest moment, we lost track of our browser tabs. So let me refresh those. While my browser rehashes so I can continue to tell you guys about the 096 test. Why isn't my browser loading? Let's talk about SCP-420-J. Intern Milanus, what's there to say about the good? If you wish to be at a higher elevation than you were previously, you obviously must get in touch with a delightful set of SCP-420-J. That is just well-known Foundation policy. All right, browsers are back. Browsers are back. So, as I was saying, SCP-096 versus that thing. 096 was in a state where it cared more about getting that piece of shit out of its containment cell, which is why the incident was concluded with relatively low casualties. At least we know what it looks like. I heard one of the researchers call him hot, and I don't know if that is disturbing or if I agree. Signed, Dr. Seraphim, excerpt from interview with Dr. Redacted. First of all, the answer is it's disturbing. If you looked at SCP-096's face and you described it as, quote, hot, I would have concerns for both your mental health and your employment here at the Foundation. All right, refreshing the chat. Intern Bago Chips, thank you for your first donation and second donation to today's stream. Grab yourself some chili cheese dip on your way past the commissary. Have you seen my son Chipston? I have not, but you might want to be watchful around the commissary. You and your son both look like delicious snacks, which is what the commissary is meant to serve. It might be a dangerous area. Be careful. Furthermore, look up SCP-1682. I'm here. Try and catch me runs. Okay, I'm unfamiliar with 1682, but anything to get that thing off of my browser tabs. 1682 is codename Solar Parasite. And it has some pretty sick solar flare art going on. And so be aware of that one. But what is a solar parasite? Believed to be a large segmented worm-like entity located in the sun. Approximate length of the entity is believed to be 28,075 kilometers. This data was found measuring the time between the first initial emergence to its disappearance from the photosphere. The appearance of 1682 near solar prominence is believed to be coincidental, as the entity's apparition in relation to the features is not consistent. Okay. And then with a little more reading, there's a D class who apparently knew that our son had a tapeworm. And it's because they tested with SCP-028, which is the spot that if you stand on it, it gives you extensive knowledge of one subject. So this D-Class stood on SCP-028 and gained the knowledge of the solar tapeworm. Well, at least we know about it now. So, I have now looked up 1682, intern Bago Chips, and if you are running, again, don't run in the commissary. You might be mistaken for a delicious snack. All right, let me double check notifications since I had a browser reset here. Make sure we're all clear. Good, 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 good. Okay. Dr. Sherman, is it possible for a reality bender to have negative or zero hume levels? And if one did, what would it mean? Intern Thanos, the answer is no, at least by our basic understanding, that in order to bend reality, you must be more real, i.e. have more Humes than your surrounding area. If an entity had less Humes, all the way down to negative Humes, that would make the assumption that reality would bend this person and not the other way around. Intern Wyatt the filmmaker. I want to say two things. First of all, you just gave us the old Jesus is the life and truth spam. Now, normally I would go on my rant about how we have 6 different Gzi. You need to pick which of those SCP Jesuses that we have in containment are the one whose path that you want us to follow. The path of Uber driver Jesus, the path of bread Jesus, the path of milk Jesus or Jesus, cockblock Jesus, Vor Jesus, Jim Davis, creator of Garfield Jesus. We have so many Gzi. Which one is truly the path? But rather than just sticking with that, I just have a secondary thing that I want you and the chat to pay attention to, which is when you say Jesus loves you as a spam, do you realize that you're turning more people away from the path of Christ? If you want someone to join your way of thinking, spamming it makes it not appealing. It makes it annoying. You're making people annoyed at your cause. Now, the secondary factor of this is that the people who want you to do this spamming, they know that too. When people send out missionaries or those angry people with frickin' signs to say God hates gays and all that, they're not expecting those angry people to change minds. What they're doing is they're testing you because they want you to be assaulted verbally, maybe even physically, by people outside your religion to shore up your devotion because they treat you nice and the world treats you bad. It is a trick, a mental trick. And so when you are out there proselytizing when nobody asks for it, you are both annoying them so they are less likely to believe in your religion, but you're also getting yourself ostracized from the community you are preaching to, thereby getting yourself sucked more into the cult. It is something that I see intern Tirez here, cult deprogramming art from Dr. Sherman. It's just something that when I deal with the Foundation, I mean, every group could be called a cult in some way or another. I remember a theater troupe that I used to work to. It was part of an anime convention, MetroCon in Tampa. And any theater troupe can get very culty because we are working together in close quarters. We're doing a show. We depend on each other, sometimes during stage combat with our lives. So you get really close with your fight partners. You get really close with your cast, your family. To the point where several of the cast members got tattoos of the insignia of the convention. Pretty culty, if you think about it like that. The key word here is you need to understand the purpose of your group. You've got to be able to examine it from an outside perspective and make sure, okay, is this a detriment to my life? The theater group I worked with, MetroCon, they were a little culty at times, but usually, at least for me, it was learning cool skills in theater, meeting and making connections in the arts. It did take a lot of time from doing other projects, and you could say that is a detriment. I would say it was just a good training arc to move on from. When you're dealing with religions and cults, I mean, a cult is a religion that just hasn't been around long enough. Scientology is a religion if you're in it, or a cult if you're outside of it. The fact of the Abrahamic religions having been around so long is what makes them a religion rather than a cult due to popular interest. This is the same as when we deal with the framing of content farms. A content farm is just a company that you don't like. It is a company making content. And why don't you like them? Well, they churn out the content real fast. They make it real cheap. They don't pay their artists enough. They get the stories wrong. That's why we don't like them, and we call them Content Farm. But if there were a company putting out high quality SCP films, animations, they did the homework, they paid their artists well, we wouldn't call that company a Content Farm. Even if they put out a bunch of stuff, it was good, then the perspective would be they were a good company, not a cult, not a content farm. So all of this to say, if you ever wondered why Desk and I in particular get annoyed at these Jesus loves you spammers, it's because they're out here causing trouble so that they get ostracized from us and they also get hug-boxed into their group that they're with. By just banning them quickly, they get actually less abuse from the chat because we get rid of them. We stop talking about them. And then maybe because they're not beat up by outsiders, they don't need to run back to the hug box of the cult. This was a very informative talk. Thank you, Dr. Sherman. You're quite welcome, Dr. Frogman. Just, I don't know. I had a little, just a bite, a little itch to talk about it today for some reason. May I hope that this information does you guys well in the future. Oh, and final word. Do remember, you are not immune to propaganda. I am not immune to propaganda. The SCP Foundation's disinformation campaigns are proof that no one is immune to propaganda. We will trick you. We will make you think that the information validates your very smartness. Cyberpsychosis with all these AIs is because if someone validates you, usually you're more likely to like them, more likely to believe them. Salesmen, con artists, grifters, it's all the same training. The goal is look out for yourself, look at what work is being done, and if you approve of it, go with it. But don't just believe what people are telling you. You never know. Critical thinking skills, we need them. Random Cookie Boy, thank you for donating again. Or no, thank you for donating, I think the first... Yes, donating again. Thank you for donating again. Dr. Sherman, the tags, Dr. Sherman. Don't get distracted again. Today's stream is talk about tags because that other one got sidelined. And also how cool Quasi Quafter is. Oh, are you an alt account of Quasi Quafter, SCP author extraordinaire? Or are you just a Quasi Quafter fan? Either way, Quafter is a cool SCP Foundation content creator in the author space. Intern Martorelli, thank you for sending a thumbs up to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. I am certain that they will enjoy the positivity, thanks to your generosity. Okay, going back to the tags, because I'm not going to be completely distracted. So, DJ had a fun idea, which would be let's look into the characters list of who has their own hold on, while I'm going into this, DJ is distracting me. Desk, someone uploaded an SCP Gallionic poster to the wiki. You've got my interest. Let me search for Gallionic, because that will probably bring it up for me. If it's not too soon. SCP Gallionic poster. Ah, yes! Intern Avan Lee makes a lot of SCP art, and this is the piece that Avan Lee made for the SCP Gallionic art contest. And so just shout out to SCP Gallionic, and on the trailer, their trailer is now linked, their YouTube is now linked, or no, that's their Twitter account. And their Kickstarter is now linked on the wiki. Very nice. Let's see, how is this being held? I'm so excited for this to come out. It's been way too long since a big SCP project happened. You're damn right, Intern Gunther. You're damn right, Intern Gunther. Also, speaking of Gallionic and them being supported on the SCP database, let's celebrate. Hey, $250,000 for Gallionic. Is that past $250,000? Because that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. 14 days to go. Let's get those other Kickstarter goals. We have 20 minutes, but we could have a soundtrack. We could have releasing all of their work files online for study and reuse. We could get the Ghost Stories dub, and we can get a dramatic ending song. Go support the SCP Gallionic. It is listed in our support link. The Site 42 support beacon, which is pinned in the chat, as well as in the description of the VOD. You can always go to Site 42, you can always go to beacons.ai/Site42 to find the SCP projects that are currently in Kickstarter that we are supporting. All right. Now, as I was saying before, as I was taking DJ's advice, before DJ interrupted me from taking DJ's advice. On the... Where'd it go? On the tag list, we can see a list of SCP characters who are prominent enough to have their own tags. Let's see who made the cut and then complain because it wasn't me. Damn it. So, 8-Ball, aka 8BA1, an artificial intelligence from the Artificial Intelligence Applications Division. Aaron Siegel, a very prominent 051. Agent Andrea Adams, head of Mobile Task Force Alpha 9 Security Detail. Agent Calendar, Agent Green, Agent Kazmarek, Agent Leferrier, Agent Lament, Troy Lament, that's a big one. Agent Lurk, Agent Merlot, Agent Navarro, I remember Navarro. Agent Popescu, Agent Rodney, Agent Strelnikov, Agent Traus, oh no. Man, it's a good thing. I don't think Strelnikov has been in a story for a very long time. If Strelnikov were still popular while heated rivalry was a thing, do you understand how many ships Strelnikov would have ended up in just for the fact of being Russian? Just for the fact of Rozanov being there? I wonder who the Strelnikov ships were back in the day. I don't recall. But anyways. Agent Traus, Agent Yorick, Alexandra, an artificial intelligence, Alex Thorley from the Department of Unreality, Chief Ibanez from Site 43, the Bailey brothers. I don't know the Bailey brothers, Tristan, Thomas, and Trevor. Captain Adrian, a.k.a. SCP-6159-2. Familiar boat captain, paralegal, emotional support animal. Interesting. D7294, a violent cellist. Huh. D11424, an exploration specialist and legendary survival. Director Actus, DJ Cactus's character. Director Bold, author Calibold's character. Director Bohart, Director Diaghilev, Director Gillespie, Director Graham, Director McInnes, Directus McTriss. Hello, Kate McTriss. Director Metanoia from DJ's pet project, the AEED. Director Tilda Moose, famous. Director Richter, Director Scout, Director Leg, Django Bridge. Dr. Ashworth, Dr. Harold Blank, Dr. Sumerian, Dr. Clef, Dr. Dan, Dr. Edison, Dr. Elliott, Dr. Everwood Finnegan Garrison, Dr. Gat, Dr. Gears, Dr. Gerald, Dr. Glass, Dr. Hayden, Dr. Heugel, Dr. Iceberg, Dr. King Kondraki Light, Dr. Lilyhammer, Dr. Mann, Dr. McDoctorate, Dr. Okari, Dr. Reinders, Dr. Wrights, Dr. Rivera, Dr. Roge, Dr. Scranton, Dr. Shaw, Dr. Sinclair, Dr. Sokolsky, Dr. Sorensen, Dr. The Revan, Dr. Vong, and Dr. Weddle, David Kondraki, Florence Thorne, General Bow and Glasson, and other artificial intelligence. Greg Chudley, unfortunate name, my friend. The Hadfield twins, James Harkness. Judith Lowe, Dr. Kane Pathos Crow. Why isn't Kane Pathos Crow a doctor? Lombardi, Agent Lombardi. Maria Jones, Maria Johnston. Oh, that's probably because Kane Pathos Crow was so old it was before everyone was doctor tagged. No, Clef was old school. Anyways, Maria Johnston, Marie Surratt, Marion Wheeler, Mark Kiryu of Kiryu Labs. Stop highlighting things. Philip Deering, formerly SCP-5056-B. Primrose Esquire, Professor Bjornson. Researcher Conwell, Researcher James, age 5. Researcher LaBelle, Researcher Lloyd, Researcher Rosen, Researcher Rex, Researcher Smalls, you tragic bitch. Researcher Talaran, you tragic bitch. Riven Mercer from Curio Labs. Samara McClear, Sheldon Cat, Simon Pietrikow, Thad Ziank, the administrator, the archivist. Yossarian Liner, Director of Department of Tactical Theology and the character of Yossi, author of SCP-8980. Zin Kiryu, researcher Zin Kiryu of Kiryu Labs and also of Zin of the SCP Wiki staff. My arm is getting tired. James Harkness is Billith's author avatar. Thank you, Desk. I did not know that. Friend of the channel, Billith, who, if you enjoy our stream ambiance, that is the delightful sweet sounds of Slowgramming, the audio experimental project of friend of the channel, Billith. Slowgramming available on Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud if you want to listen to some experimental SCP music yourself. You inspired me to make my own SCP-inspired project, and it's going well. Thanks for being awesome. You're quite welcome, Intern Albatross. What are you working on? What's your project about? Give me just 1 second. A pertinent business email came in. I can just text that out real quick. Do. It's kind of sad that people have to say their thing isn't AI every time they post it to social media. I agree, Dr. Frogman, the paranoia can be a little grating. It is quite difficult to live in a world that's so pessimistic, but we will continue on. Let me, where did I go here? There we go. There we go. Just a quick little business email completed. Very good. Coming back. Intern Neverwhere, thank you for your first donation of today's stream. Get yourself some fizzy water on your way past the commissary. You probably need to hydrate in that fursuit. They locked me in the closet again. Did you try the mac and cheese machine or is it still broken? I prefer my mac and cheese made by hand by the commissary staff, so I'm just gonna be wary of that macaroni and cheese machine for life. Thank you very much. What? It's a little rude to lock you in the closet like a locker for a high schooler. Give me the badge numbers of the security officers in question, and I will have a little disciplinary chat with them. Tiger Claws, thank you for sending a clutch to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. I'm sure that when the time is right, they will come in clutch at your urging. Opinion on SCP-1507, my personal favorite. Intern Skidsk. You're talking, of course, about the flamingos, if I'm remembering properly. SCP-1507, the living lawn flamingos that want you to get got. Now, number one, I find them very frustrating because they keep trying to kill Foundation staff. But secondarily, I'm now trying to remember, because it's not linked here, it's one of the lawn gnomes. One of the lawn gnomes, I believe, let's check 1504. Yes, SCP-1504, codename the Garden Gnome, is, in fact, the anomaly that created the pink flamingos. And so I don't know if you knew that fun fact, but you can check that out yourself, Intern Skid. SCP-1054 is the Garden Gnomes. Afternoon, Dr. Sherman. I'm currently at the site gym, still on my mission to defeat SCP-076. Well, I too had my time at the on-site gym earlier, so that's why we didn't cross paths. Today was upper body day. I did some anterior shoulder lifts, some incline presses, some military presses, some flat chest presses, some rows, and some pull-ups. So remember the Foundation Fitness Initiative, everyone. If you are the slowest researcher, you are the most likely to get captured by an anomaly that has breached containment. And so it is up to every one of you to join the Foundation Fitness Initiative. You don't have to be the fastest researcher, just not the slowest. Even if you don't get the t-shirt, you should still go to the gym and be a strong and fast nerd. That is actually quite an old shirt, but we still have the design, and it's good for gym wear. Be strong, people, be strong. Now, on desks, requests. We are going to take a look at a particular tag that our resident desk is unfamiliar with, but I'm not unfamiliar with. Let's take a look at the tag, Just Girly Things. And I'm going to hope that they have a group of interest page to make this easier to explain. Just Girly Things. Just Girly Things Hub, perfect. So, oh boy. Just Girly Things homepage. So, Just Girly Things is a psychological horror series meant to capture the horrors of the real world and real people. Transphobia, eating disorders, misogyny. They're all things we deal with on a daily basis. I wanted to make something that is close to me. Girliness and loving cute things and pink, and make it a creepy commentary of the way some people are treated in society. While Just Girly Things mostly covers girls, these are issues that are prevalent to all of us of any group. Just Girly Things is meant to be realistic horror, in the sense that it is almost something you can see in real life. It is supposed to make your skin crawl, make you gag, want to break your computer, the likes. If you hate characters, it means the author is doing their job correctly. So my SCP that I know of from Just Girly Things. Now notice that there's not a whole lot of SCPs here. There are a lot of tales. in the Just Girly Things canon. But give me just a second. Let me see if I can find the Just Girly Things that I was talking about. I believe it's in the later series. What the leader says. I gave birth to a full woman. A very girly holiday movie. Yes. This is the one, SCP-6679. So, a funny story. This story has a content warning for, quote, men behaving badly. And the funny thing is this came out right around the same time as SCP-8980. And essentially, it is a toned down version of that, so to speak. So, if you've read 8980, you know what you're getting into. So, SCP-6679, its description refers to a very girly holiday movie, a film released by Sparkly Pink Productions. The story opens with a wealthy and influential businesswoman ending up stranded in a village for a month due to unspecified reasons. The lumberjack of the village offers her to stay at his home. Throughout the movie, he introduces her to, quote, the true meaning of Christmas, which leads to the resignation of the businesswoman from her job on Christmas Eve. The film ends with her choosing to spend the rest of her life in the village, claiming that the purpose of life lies not in wealth and success, but in love and family. SCP-6679 is affiliated with Group of Interest 4319, codename You Saw Nothing, codename Just Girly Things. After watching the movie, women and persons assigned female at birth become convinced that their current job and career does not bring them happiness if employed, or that attaining a job in the future will not bring them happiness either if unemployed. Instead, they become convinced that leading a fulfilling life lies in retiring to a rural cottage with their romantic partner. If the affected individual does not currently possess a partner, the anomalous effect of SCP-6679 will compel them to find one. The anomaly was discovered following a routine weekly sweep of online spaces for memetic and cognitohazardous materials on July 8th, 2018. At the time of discovery, it was present on 12 different streaming platforms in total. Note, Foundation personnel assigned to SCP-6679 must have a cognitive resistance value no lower than 6. And then we have Incident 6679-I-1, I assume, which was on December 11th, 2018. On the night of July 29th, okay, let's change these dates around. They're doing it the other way. So this notice was on November 12th, 2018. And that means that it was discovered on July 8th, 2018. So 3 weeks later is when this incident takes place. On the night of July 29th, 2018, lead researcher Dr. Alexandra Stewart submitted a letter of resignation to the Site 219 HR department, citing that Foundation work means nothing to her anymore, and that she now aspires to lead a simpler life with her romantic partner. Dr. Stewart disappeared the following morning, with site staff having no time to confront her or try to dissuade her. As Dr. Stewart reportedly enjoyed working at the Foundation, was on track to become the head of the site's memetic research division, and expressed no desire in finding a romantic partner prior to her disappearance, the resignation letter raised concerns among the majority of the staff members of Site 219. Note, commentary of senior researcher Dr. Paul McKinnon. The resignation of Dr. Stewart was a shock to us all. We all know how she used to stay at her desk until late at night, or how she would spend hours upon hours in the site's library, refreshing on or expanding her vast knowledge of anomalies. And now, within a moment's notice, all gone. Blaming SCP-6679 for this would be the most straightforward option. It would, however, also be the most closed-minded one. Women are not free of errors. It is possible that Stewart simply forgot to follow some vital steps of the special containment procedures, and this carelessness cost her her career. As sad as it may be, that is the most likely explanation. Regardless, whatever would be the reason behind her resignation, whether it is human incompetence or simply the desire to find a family, a desire that drives every woman deep down, I wish Dr. Stewart good luck in her newfound life and encourage other staff members from Site 219 to do the same. Now, following her disappearance, the position of the head of the Memetic Research Division of Site 19 has been given to Dr. Paul McKinnon, the second in priority candidate for the position. Attempts to locate Dr. Stewart are currently underway. So, do we all understand what happened there? Does anybody require an explanation? Heading back to the chat to see what you guys have to say about that. Okay, first of all, intern Neverwhere. You asked, is there a Site 42 Discord? The answer that Desk shortly gave you, but I'm going to elaborate on, is yes. There is a Site 42 Discord server. Now, it follows the same rule as the SCP Wiki and the SCP community's main Discord server, which is you must be 18 or older to join it. So if you are younger than that, first of all, be cautious, because Site 42 and the SCP Foundation deal with adult themes very often, including graphic horror and gore, sexuality, and all sorts of very dire subjects, such as the misogyny we just read about. Now, if you are 18 or older and you wish to join the Site 42 Discord server, you must find it. It is an Easter egg hunt, that's what Desk said, because we want you to have to work for it. But we do give hints at the end of stream, if you pay attention. Tiger Claws, thank you for sending a 6-7 to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. I'm certain that Desk enjoyed it greatly. Woescom, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Grab yourself a Frito chili pie on your way past the commissary. Message for Dr. Sherman. We are slowly getting SCP-008 contained, but we need reinforcements, and I think I can't hide the SCP Foundation from the public for long. Your job is to keep the SCP Foundation secret. That's priority 1. Priority 2 is maintaining normalcy. I should rearrange that. Priority 1 is maintaining normalcy. Priority 2 is keeping secrecy. Although they kind of go hand in hand. If we are shown, then that means normalcy will have been breached. So handle it. I can send you reinforcements, but you need to get the job done. Hey, is the star-eyed child a star-eyed adult, or is she stuck forever? Well, first of all, intern Evie, that is an it, not a she. All anomalies that are in containment are treated as objects, not people. That way we don't humanize with them, sympathize with them, and possibly feel bad for imprisoning them for life without having committed a crime, and therefore releasing them, which would be bad. So remember, all anomalies in containment are its, not he's, not she's, its. Please practice proper pronoun parlance protocols at the Foundation. Now, as to speak to the star-eyed girl's aging, SCP-134 seems between the ages of single digit and single digit. I see nothing saying that SCP-134's age is locked by the anomaly involved. So it seems to me more than likely that SCP-134 will grow up. Wait. 134 was taken into Foundation custody based on reports of a deformed child left at Redacted Orphanage in Redacted, Yokohama, Japan. 134 has been in Foundation custody since 20 Redacted, 2-digit Redacted, at which time orphanage staff claimed SCP-134 was single-digit years old. Since then, SCP-134 has learned conversational English in addition to Japanese already known, and has demonstrated facility with Braille, though instruction is ongoing. So, what I am seeing here is with a double-digit redacted date, that could be found in 2026. That could be found in 2015. All listings here say that the entity appears to be between single-digit ages. So, if due to the evidence at hand, we do not know if the entity ages or not, unfortunately. I wonder if 134 has any tails. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the 134 document over to the sidebar for the Series 1. And then I'm going to click on the Tails edition. And now every SCP is listed with tails that are related to it. While I am scrolling to 134, Tiger Claws. The Foundation Fitness Initiative shirts do not come in compression shirts, unfortunately. I wish they did, that would be dope. But they just come in general cotton t-shirts. Alright, down to 134. Star-Eyed Child. Halloween on 17th Street is a hallucination / reality-bending incident due to the witch child, so we don't need to check that. Into That Good Night is a poem, likely not important. First Quarto, not important. Poetry. Habil and Kabil is the only one that might be an actual story. One, 3, 4. During routine online investigation for anomalous content, our dark web crawler, codename emospiderman.aic, discovered a web series called Habil and Kabil, which constitutes an extreme breach of Foundation security. Habil and Kabil is a sitcom explicitly set at Site-17 and stars numerous characters based on actual SCPs within the Foundation's possession, primarily Skips, whose SCP designations are lower than 1,000. Footnote, according to the website, this is because they prove most popular with focus groups. The Toon main characters are SCP-076-2, Abel, and SCP-073, Cain. Despite the title of the show using their Quranic names, the characters are always referred to as Cain and Abel within the show itself. They are depicted as an odd couple, attempting to get along despite their differences. There's also some degree of estrangement between the two, which is not directly dealt with until the first season finale. Each episode is approximately 22 minutes long, including opening and closing credits. Aside from the show's title, the credits are in an unknown language of glyphs that is yet to be identified or deciphered, although they do have a superficial similarity to the markings on SCP-076-1, the sarcophagus. The actors portraying Cain and Abel do bear strong resemblance to the anomalies in containment. However, numerous differences have been observed. Cain's mark is inaccurate, and his prosthetics appear to be low-quality CGI. Abel's tattoos are also inaccurate, apparently redesigned to be more aesthetically pleasing, and are inconsistent between episodes. He also carries his bladed weapons with him at all times, and does not possess the ability to summon them in the matter of 076-2. Other main characters based off SCPs include SCP-191, codename Cybe. Like Kane, her prosthetics appears to be computer-generated and not 100% accurate. Notably, she possesses a voice box, whereas 191 does not and typically communicates by interacting with available devices. 134, Stella the Star Child, again, low-quality CGI for the eyes. Iris, who has a crush on Abel, is in the show. SCP-507, the Reluctant Dimension Hopper, is listed as Grabnock the Destroyer. He jumps to other realities are much more frequent and shorter in nature, sometimes occurring multiple times per episode. He also insists on everyone calling him Grabnock the Destroyer, whereas the real 507 only requested this once in jest, and has objected to the fact that his file lists this as a suitable moniker for him. And there is a listing of episodes if you wish to look into Habil in Kabil. So, if you want to read about the sitcom known as Habil and Kabil, it is waiting for you on the database. But it seems that no, there is no aging evidence for Stella. Reading SCP-5542 because we were talking about Dr. Sherman's SCPs he wrote being animated. I want to find a way to have SCP-5542 be in an animation, be animated. I don't know, I'm bored, I need animation ideas. So, behind the scenes on 5542 for just a second. That is the story of Hansel and Gretel. That is the Lecker Mall character is the entity in 5542. And it is luring children with cake and then eating them. Our agents, unfortunately, let the entity escape, so it's not in containment. And so you could have a very Looney Tunesian interaction between the entity and the agents who are interrogating it, but don't know that it is the entity in question. Because the Foundation just thinks that the anomaly is that the beach is made out of cake. Farm Shop Chronicles, thank you for donating again to say, Dear Dr. Sherman, or Director Sherman, we here at Internal Investigations have been informed that we may be subject to some budget cuts, so we politely ask, did you authorize this? Thanks, aye. Internal Investigations, first of all, aye. Aye is under the purview of the Ethics Committee, if I'm correct, which means that it is outside my jurisdiction to sign off on budgetary cuts. II is not subject to one site director. It is a Foundation-wide initiative. So I would talk to Dr. Sumerian, our liaison from the Ethics Committee, to see what the situation is. Woescom, thank you for donating again to say, I've got some bad news and some bad news, and no good news. Shame. We lost another city. The second bad news is that this strain of 008 mutated. We are fucked. I need a drink. Well, in what way did it mutate? Because zombie viruses are pretty bad in and of themselves. Is it making super zombies? Is it making tanks? Is it making nemesi? What mutation is at hand? We have to, at one time, one piece at a time. What are we going on with? Ethan Stewart, thank you for sending an ice cream sundae and a flower to the Containment Hazard Assessment Team. I am sure the sweets will increase morale, as will the beauty of the flower. And thank you for your first donation, as well as being a member as well, Researcher Stewart. Grab yourself a fruit salad yummy on your way past the commissary. I've been promoted. Congratulations on your promotion. Excellent. Glad to hear it. Closing some extraneous tags. Or, sorry, tabs. Extraneous tabs. There's the cloud. There's the list. Okay. Not forgetting the tags again. How about we discuss which SCPs now have their own tag? Which SCPs have their own tag, not just SCP staff members? So, Abel, SCP-076, has a tag. Alexei Belitrov, aka SCP-2273, has a tag. I like that SCP-343's tag is Alleged God. Because yes, it is true. 343 is not God. Lord Blackwood, Explorer and Gentleman, aka SCP-1867, has a tag. Bobble the Clown, 993, has a tag. The anomaly known as Bones, aka SCP-2721-Lord, or Eli, has a tag. I did not realize that Eli had that many tails. Oh my god. Apparently, despite how much people hate SCP-2721 because they're angry anti-woke losers on the internet, that entity from 2721 is within frickin' 37 pages on the database. Neat. I did not realize that anomaly was so prominent. Coming back to where I was before. Kane, SCP-073, has a tag, expected. Blue-blooded alien, aka 6118. I'm not even familiar with that entity. Cousin Johnny, aka 2852. Fun fact, since we just talked about SCP-2721, i.e. Cousin, the most hated SCP because the Anti-Woke Brigade, SCP-2721 was written by Kinch the Nightblade, and that is the SCP author's name. And people are like, oh, this is a terrible author because this is a terrible article. But the Anti-Woke Brigade very much enjoys SCP-2852, codenamed Cousin Johnny, written by the same person. And so they're here saying this person has ruined SCP because they wrote the Trans Homestuck satellite, but also they made one of the most popular SCPs, Cousin Johnny. Make it make sense. You can't. Continuing on. Dr. Spanko, SCP-2337, has a tag. Ulysses B. Donkman, SCP-4768, has a tag. SCP-423, aka Fred, has a tag. Love me some Fred. Agent Frederick. Jeffrey Quincy Harrison III, aka SCP-5595, a sassy gumball machine stationed in Site-322's accounting department. SCP-5595, if you're unfamiliar, is a sentient, talking gumball machine that claims to be a site director. Yeah. Didn't realize that thing had a tag. I wonder what wacky misadventures the gumball machine gets up to. I can't believe that SCP-507's tag is Grabknock the Destroyer. Its tag is literally Grabknock. That's hilarious. Hard to Destroy Reptile has a tag, clearly. Half-Cat Josie has a tag, clearly. Hannah Thompson, a.k.a. 6317, has a tag. Heather Mason, a.k.a. 3090, a.k.a. Miss Mad About Video Games, has a tag. Hog Slice, a.k.a. SCP-6599, has a tag. Iris Thompson, 105, has a tag. Leslie, an instance of 3774, has a tag. Laffy McLafferson from SCP 2030, aka Laugh is Fun, has a tag. What the fuck is a Grabnock? SCP-953. One time when we asked SCP-507, the Reluctant Dimension Hopper, which is just a normal dude who accidentally hops dimensions once in a while, we asked its name, and it said its name was Grabnock the Destroyer, as a joke. But we keep calling it that because it's funny. Intern Maru, aka the Library Cat, or SCP Espanola Branch 234. SCP-ES-234, the Library Cat. Let's see if there's a picture of the Library Cat. Oh! SCP-ES-234, Maru, the Library Cat, not only has a photo, but it's a very dapper photo during a noir event. Oh, you dapper Detective King. SCP-ES-234, for those who want to run down a delightful noir kitty. What a wonderful subject we're doing today with these tags. We're learning so much. Back to the tag list. Moon Champion. Champion of the Moon. I haven't thought of SCP-1233 in forever. Moon Champion is a superhero that's just a spaceman astronaut with a jetpack that flies around doing superhero things. No, I am not one of the Moon people. I am Moon Champion. I will continue to serve the Moon people and wage glorious war against their enemies until my debt to the Moon King is repaid. But the Moon Kingdom is a land of peace and enlightenment. The Moon people having abandoned the pettiness and violence and bloodshed aeons ago. They are ill-prepared for the sudden advent of such a formidable foe, and the conflict goes poorly despite the valiant efforts of me, Moon Champion. And so I have come once more to Earth, our closest neighbor, to seek whatever assistance lies within your damp, meaty hearts. SCP-1233, the Moon Champion, is a king of the early wiki. Mr. Fish, of course, SCP-527, has a tag. And by the way, have you ever seen Mr. Fish in real life? Did you see Site-42, our very first live action SCP recorded play? I went to Los Angeles to visit a group known as Last Call Theater, who did SCP Signals, a live-action SCP theater show. And during that, there were a whole bunch of anomalies in real life. And one of those anomalies, if I can find it... Mute there, I don't want you talking over me right now. Get a good close-up picture, Dr. Sherman. Get a good close-up picture. Quality, that's speed. Can I up the quality? No, not right now. So, here, my friends, is Mr. Fish, IRL. You can't really see the top hat real well, but it's there. SCP-049, of course, was present and in containment. We had a discussion with there we go, Plague Doctor. Had a nice conversation with my nemesis. There's Mr. Fish. There's Mr. Fish. I wish the lighting were better, but our big old Mr. Fish here is doing good. If you haven't seen our playlist on this channel for SCP Signals, I suggest checking it out. A live-action interactive SCP theater experience that took place in Los Angeles several years ago. There were many more anomalies beyond SCP-049 and SCP-527. Go enjoy them once we're done with stream. Oh, Desk. I don't know how you got those photos so quickly, but great work getting a nice, crisp screen cap of real-life SCP-527. The Mr. Fishiness in full glory. Looks great. All right, where were we? Give me just a second to come back to chat. I've seen some donations and questions come in while I was reading tags. Let me get those so I don't fall too far behind. Nentern Neverwhere, thank you for donating again to say, I've been demoted and I'm under investigation help. Well, I would know about your demotion. What? What? By Hoopst. What did you do? Intern Bendy, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a deviled crab on your way past the commissary. Opinion on SCP-6789, you say? Codename Return, Return, Return. I don't know that I'm familiar with SCP-6789, which would mean I don't believe I have an opinion at all. I don't seem to recognize this anomaly. So this was a 6-con contest entry. It's by Ralliston, or at least one of the authors on the thing is Ralliston, and Ralliston does good work, so it's probably pretty good, I would imagine. But I don't know the article enough to have an opinion. I apologize. Intern Chuffa, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Uh, 953, thank you for asking about the chat cooldown. The chat cooldown was set to 60 instead of 30 like I had intended. This is because we had an entire terminal crash right at the beginning of stream, and so I was in a bit of a rush and I did not adjust it. Thank you for answering, or thank you for saying that, so I realized the problem. Intern Xavier Smith, as a time check, we are currently at 100 minutes. I said I was going to be an hour, maybe an hour and a half, so we are well past that, but I have some donations and I still want to talk more about tags. So we're not done yet. I don't know how long my stamina is going to make it, but we'll do what we can. I am out of my beverage, though, and so that might be our stopping point when I get next thirsty. Farm Shop Chronicles, thank you for donating again to say, Dear Director Sherman, we have investigated the budget cuts and have determined that the Ethics Committee has reduced our Dr. Pepper budget. We are extremely disappointed. We will be seeking a reversal. Your dearest, II. Why would they do? Someone must have infiltrated the Ethics Committee. I cannot think of an ethical reason to restrict the Dr. Pepper budget. No, this is a bad sign. You do need to investigate this. because obviously something very unethical is going on. In the meantime, grab yourself a crisp Dr. Pepper from the commissary. Woscom, thank you for donating again to say, it is making Left 4 Dead tanks and spitters. That's the only two I know. What the fuck you mean by necromancers? Have be seen, I need a 5 bottle. Obviously, you're panicking. You're starting not to make sense. I need you to calm down a little bit. So, Foundation necromancers were sent to your site to possibly turn the tide of the battle against the dead, because we could use the fallen soldiers of the Foundation, as well as fallen zombies, brought back to life by our Foundation necromancers to help you. It's extra support. Don't worry, the necromancers are on your side. Intern Neverwhere, thank you for donating again to say. So, I got 682 lost in 093, with 096 very upset. Okay, yes, I don't know who demoted you, but you deserve it. That's what you get for your irresponsibility. Nikki Knackle, thank you for donating again to the Ko-Fi. And you said, what is today's reading challenge? We don't have one yet, but if one of these tags will probably inspire me to give you one. Dr. Sherman, Mr. Fish became the director of the fish prison in Project Isoropia. His fish eyes allow him to see things we can't. I did not realize fish eyes would be such an important qualification for site directorship. Intern DuckTales, ooh. What is going on here? Apparently you've woken up from an amnestic coma, so let me, I'm sorry about whatever tragedy befell you that you felt like you needed to take amnestic drugs, but welcome back to being awake. Your memories have been erased, so I'll just inform you, you are an agent of the SCP Foundation. This is our daily stream where I answer your questions about this dark and mysterious place of employment we call the SCP Foundation. It's necessary for interns to learn more because they are in need of information to be the best Foundation agents they can be. Also, it's important because so many of us get amnesticized so often that people need reminders. You wonder why there are so many repeated questions in the chat. It's because people keep getting amnesticized, and so I have to re-answer the questions. It's just making sense, guys. All right, let's get back to the tags. I at least want to make it through the character tags. So who else do we have here? Murphy Law, SCP-3143, one of the best SCPs on the wiki. Old AI, otherwise known as SCP-079, has a tag. The Plague Doctor, 049, has a tag. The Possessive Mask, SCP-035, has a tag. Rainer Miller, aka SCP-4051, your friendly neighborhood Keter, has a tag. Solsasaur, SCP-179, has a tag. Hold on just one second. Okay, there we go. Come back. Where's my tab? Where's my tab? There we are. Shy Guy, aka 096, has a tag. Seguros Stefansdottir, aka SCP-239, has a tag. Teenage Gaia, aka SCP-166, known as Mary, has a tag. 10 dots is the tag for SCP-2521. Which SCP is also a god? I forgot. Intern Magar. We contain multiple entities that claim to be God or have been worshipped as gods. For instance, we contain a lot of Greek gods for some reason. Just a lot of Greek gods are in containment. But most likely you're talking about SCP-343, which many staff members call God, even though it isn't. It's a reality bender with delusions of grandeur. Don't believe its lies. The Old Man, aka SCP-106, has a tag. The Tickle Monster, aka SCP-999, has a tag. The Kumiho, SCP-953, has a tag. The Sculpture, 173, has a tag. The Spectre, aka SCP-4944, has a tag. Although, didn't you tell me that one was wrong, DJ? Yes, the Spectre is not SCP-4944. That is a coffee machine, except it's literally just a cargo ship. So what is the Spectre? Isn't the Spectre 3933? Nope, that is something else. I wonder if you can submit that redirect to staff. Seems like it might be a good idea. But other than that, also, Too Spooky, SCP-2006, has its own tag. And then we go down to Persons of Interest who have tags. But before we go down to Persons of Interest, let me return to the chat and see how you guys are doing. Farm Shop Chronicles, thank you for donating again to say. Dead Dr. Sherman, I hope you meant dear. I hope you meant dear. Our Ethics Committee connection is refusing to answer any more questions. Please advise. Your best, I would, at this point, go around to another Ethics Committee liaison. It might be some sort of traitorous behavior of your current ECL. Intern Catherine, thank you for sending a lucky clover to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. I'm sure it will provide them luck. How does Alto Clef even find a reality bender? Well, Intern Mata, first and foremost, the Foundation usually finds them and then deploys Clef. Clef is not normally out hunting individually. Clef does have the backing of the Foundation, so that does make it a bit easier. Ethan Stewart, thank you for sending a high five to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. I am certain that they will enjoy and return that crisp high five. Back to the tag list. So, who has, as persons of interest, a tag? Alden, an artist. Amos Marshall of Marshall Carter and Dark. Big Cheese Horace of the Fifthus. Interesting. Brainy Brain of Dr. Wondertainment and Brainy Brian of Wondertainment and Marshall Carter and Dark. I remember reading his tale series. That was a long one. Intern Nix, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Shaz Ambrose, the founder of Ambrose Restaurants, has a tag. Dado has a tag. Dado is taking care of you in this one, you no worry. I do not like it when Dado gets hands on our database. Someone clean that up. Damian Nowak is a cult leader in the tags. DCL Fine, Undersecretary General of the Global Occult Coalition, has a tag. Eric, the mysterious creator of anomalies, has a tag. Esther Kogan, aka Lesbian Gengar of Gamers Against Weed, has a tag. Theowen Wilson of Wilson's Wildlife Solutions has a tag. Finnegan, an ant artist, has a tag. Grand Karcist Ion has a tag. The Golem of Prague, Joseph Benjuda, has a tag. Halina Yeva, Karsis Halina Yeva, aka the Mother Who Demands One Toes. The Mother Who Demands One's Toes. Okay, Karcist, you have fun with that, I guess. Holly Light of Dr. Wondertainment has a tag. Icky, otherwise known as Veronica Mason, aka Icky the Magic Clown, of Herman Fuller's Circus of the Disquieting has a tag. Iris Dark of Marshall Carter and Dark has a tag. Do not mix up Iris Thompson, SCP-105, and Iris Dark. It's not going to work. Isabel, Helga Anastasia Parvati Wondertainment V has a tag. Jude Kriot, aka Blunt Fiend of Gamers Against Weed, has a tag. Judy Papil, aka Judy the Tongue of Dr. Wondertainment, has a tag. Kenneth Spencer of the FBI's Unusual Investigations Unit. I'm sorry, what? What do you mean? Unusual Investigations Unit. There! I thought I was getting Mandela affected. The UIU is the Unusual Incidents Unit, not the Unusual Investigations Unit. What? Kenny Spence here. Kenny Spence is in 17 stories as a UIU agent. And it is the Unusual Incidents Unit. It is not Unusual Investigations. Who dares give me a double take of uncertainty? Who dares? No, this is a canon. Is this a canon? Unusual Investigations is a tale. The Unusual Investigations of Kenneth Spencer and Robert Thorne. What am I looking at here? Is this a canon? A series. A series featuring the Unusual Incidents Unit, the Unusual Investigations of Kenneth Spencer and Robin Thorne. I feel like I'm having a stroke. Personnel file, Kenneth Spencer is a senior special agent assigned to the 3 Portland's field office, where he has significant administrative and operational responsibilities. He is the lead investigative agent on most cases originating in 3 Portlands, and functions as the commander of the UIU Foundation Joint Task Force Delta 3, codenamed Organic Free Trade, during operations in the city. I now need to figure out incidents versus investigations here. Why is it called that? What have you done? Huh. Ta-da. How peculiar. All right, since that distracted me so much, let me pop over to the chat and see how things are going. Intern Bushy, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Help yourself to a coquito on your way past the commissary. This weekend is going to be a good weekend. Getting a tire change and going to visit my grandparents. Seems like you're getting some low-key but important things done. Good work. Handle your errands. See your family. Dr. Sherman, my friend wrote your whole author page. Intern Mata, what do you mean by that? As far as I know, I wrote my author page. What do you mean? Intern Dakota, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Important message to Dr. Sherman. Sir, I think I've cracked the code to Site 42 fan 10384. Check the short comment, please, if you haven't. Also, am I technically an SCP because I'm a duck human? So a duck human would be anomalous for sure, but unless you are contained with an SCP document, you're not an SCP. You're just an anomaly. Now, furthermore, I will look into your comment a little later on. I'm still working out some details on the back end of that situation. So keep decrypting as you can. See if you've got the full solution. It's wrote on paper. Intern Ramdom, you're talking for Intern Mata? Are you saying they just, like, wrote my entire author page on a piece of paper? I'm confused. Doctor, how long has this coffee break been going on for? Intern from the Ethics Committee. This is actually the 2-hour mark, which means we have gone from a coffee break to an office hours. Especially because I need some... I'm not done with even the first list of tags I looked at yet. I want to at least finish that. We must find out who this Site42 fan is. Intern Shy, I am looking forward to you guys' research and decryption protocols to see if we can figure that out. I might be calling out to a different wing of the decryption team tomorrow to boost the ranks of your team for further collaboration. All right, back to the tags. I got to get through this list. We're almost there. Kindness has a tag, and it's just, quote, a kind man. A kind man has 47 pages. What? Huh. Interesting. Legate Trunion, prophet of the Cogwork Orthodoxy, has a tag. Lewitt Zairi family of the Horizon Initiative has a tag. Lovatar, the ex-Deva princess who became one of the Clavigars, has a tag. Lucas Monaco, employee of Marshall Carter and Dark, has a tag. Manny, aka the man with the upside-down face from Herman Fuller's Circus of the Disquieting, has a tag. Mari McPherson, the VP of Public Relations for Vikander Knee Technical Studies, has a tag. Midnight, a sapient cat and member of the Serpent's Hand, has a tag. Midnight the cat has a tag if you want to hang out with a Serpent's Hand kitty cat. Nadox, one of the 4 Clavigars of Sarcasm, has a tag. Olivie Gwyneth, head archivist of the Shea Lounge, has a tag. Shea as in the folks who live in the forest with no names. Orok, one of the 4 Clavigars of Sarcasm, has a tag. Percival Dark, aka the Deathless Merchant of London, founder of Marshall Carter and Dark, has a tag. Polar Ice Craps of Gamers Against Weed has a tag. Those trolls and their usernames. Professor A.W., inventor and creator of Curiosities, has a tag. Richard Chappell, founder of the Chicago Spirit, has a tag. Robert Bumaro, prophet of McCain, has a tag. Robert Carter of Marshall Carter and Dark has a tag. Robin Thorne of the FBI Unusual Investigations Unit has a tag. Right up there with Kenny Spence in the investigation unit rather than the incidents unit. Sarn, one of the 4 Clavigars of Sarcasm again, has a tag. Ruiz Deschamps, an artist, has a tag. Ruprecht Carter of Marshall Carter and Dark has a tag. Saint Hedwig, the prophet of Maxwellism, has a tag. A prophet of Maxwellism. Saturn Deer, serial reincarnator and false prophet, has a tag. Skitter Marshall of Marshall Carter and Dark has a tag. The Critic of Are We Cool Yet, of course, has a tag. Philo Zwist, Memeticist, has a tag. Tim Wilson of Wilson's Wildlife Solutions has a tag. Veronica Catherine Fitzroy, an artist and D-Class, has a tag. And Vincent Anderson of Anderson Robotics has a tag. And this brings us to the end of our first list, because we only have a couple more entities. Pluripotent entities, which some might call gods. So these entities are what we consider to be gods in the SCP Foundation. Are you ready? Anafabula, aka SCP-2747, an antagonistic anti-narrative that annihilates any work that features it in its entirety, has a tag. Brothers of Death, the three Brothers Death, first mentioned in SCP-1440, have a tag. The Hanged King of Alagata has a tag. Pangloss, mythical figure and leaver of notes, has a tag. Queen Mab, a fey tyrant and goddess, has a tag. The Serpent, mythical ruler of the Wanderer's Library and namesake of the Serpent's Hand, has a tag. And finally, Yaldabaoth, the Demiurge, also known as Vajuma by followers of Sarcasm, the reviled creator of the physical universe, has a tag. That, my friends, is every tagged character on the SCP Wiki. Now that still leaves top-level tags, major page tags, object classes, SCP attributes, genre, art, groups, group of interest formats, canons, series, locations, content markers, staff processes, events, and translations. So, of today's SCP tags that we chose from, we're going to say what's the best tag of the day, and we'll tackle more of this later. So since today's tags, we mostly examine the characters, my question becomes, okay, well, which tag needs to be which is the best character? And, conveniently for me at least, only one of my favorite SCPs happens to have a tag, which means by default, in my completely objective opinion, which is totally not subjective in any way, shape, or form, the best tag for today's stream goes to Murphy Law! Murphy Law, pataphysical noir directive character, aka SCP-3143, first featured in SCP-3043. Murphy Law takes the day. Best tag of the characters, Murphy Law, can't stop him. There we go. Could have been better if they had a Dr. Sherman tag, then it would have been a fight. Dr. Clef is up there, but can't take Murphy Law. Sorry, desk. Can't do it. Oh, boy. Ha! Let me address this for funsies. Intern Hallow. I do not deign to discuss the offshoot group of the SCP Wiki known as the RPC Authority. First of all, they're basically dead. They do not have that many people writing for them. They do not have that many posts made. Secondarily, the fact that they broke off from us because they were mad that we were woke makes me instantly dislike them. They hide behind complaints that SCP has changed and it wasn't like it used to, but that's not true. SCP has evolved, yes, but it also still contains a lot of simple stories, the kind that they like so much and are mad that we don't have anymore. The problem is that we didn't like when they said slurs, and they didn't like gay people. And so they left and started their own wiki where they could say slurs and hate on gay people. So the RPC Authority is an enemy of Site-42. But rather than harp on them, I just really don't talk about them because they are not worth the effort. All right, Site-42 staff, I am returning to the chat. We are just past the 2 hour and 10 minute mark, which means we are at the end of stream. And Site-42 staff, as I do at the end of every stream, I tell you guys my favorite SCPs. Now, of course, I'm not going to tell you that my favorite SCPs are the ones I personally wrote. That would be cheating. Sheer narcissism. But if you want to read the SCPs I personally wrote, you can go to the Sherm's author page in Site42 Hub on the SCP database. There you can read the SCPs I personally wrote, as well as contributed voice lines or sound effects too. And while you are at it, one tab over from the SCPs I wrote, you will see some links. Some links that people are often asking me about in chat, wanting hints about where they are. But then they're not smart enough to get the hint, to get to the links, and that's just sad for them, but not for you. For you, my Containment Hazard Assessment team, you are the clever ones that will find those links. I believe it. And when you do, you will have the options at those links to do many things. Some of which are become a Patreon patron or a YouTube channel member to donate to us monthly. Some would be to do a Ko-Fi or a YouTube Super Chat to donate to us one at a time. Either way, donating Site42 directly is the quickest way to help me and my team keep the lights on, so we appreciate your generosity. And if you're part of the broke gang and you can't donate, do not fret. It turns out that we also, in this D&D party of life, need what we call Mobile Task Force Psi-42, codenamed the Signal Boosters. When you like, share, subscribe, comment, chat, not just on us, but on the SCP projects we support, the live-action films, the animations, the games, as well as the SCP Wiki and its authors and artists, as well as merch makers, as well as podcasters. When you help SCP projects, you help them get made so we have more, and you help those artists get more experience, more resources, so they can make bigger and better things. We are pushing a boulder uphill, and it's because of your efforts, Mobile Task Force Psi-42 codename Signal Boosters, that we get things like SCP Gallionic, aka SCP the Anime. So thank you, Site-42 staff, for your service as members of Mobile Task Force Psi-42 codename the Signal Boosters. Before my favorite SCPs, Intern Neverwhere has donated again. Can you ask the O5 to pay for my HRT? Thanks. Well, we could, but wouldn't you prefer to use SCP-113, the gender switching stone, and just get it done with? I mean, all you gotta do is talk to your on-site HR therapist and on-site therapist. If you talk to HR and your therapist, then they can put in that request for you. And then, what's the phrase I'm looking for? And then the next time it's on rotation, you'll be allowed to use it. It's part of the Foundation's medical health plan, so yes. Just gotta file your paperwork. Quack Attack. Unfortunately, due to some behind-the-scenes workarounds that I'm working on, I cannot look at that comment on stream. Let's just say there's some behind-the-scenes things that I gotta let it lay as it is for now. But I will check it off stream. Furthermore, okay, so now, my favorite SCPs in no particular order are SCP-3999, SCP-3043, SCP-008-J, SCP-Spooky-J, SCP-5031, SCP-5175, SCP-5320, and SCP-8980. Content warning on that last one, it's a bit of a rough read. Speed round. 3999-3043-008-J, Spooky-J, 5031, 5175, 53208, content warning, the last one's a rough read. Intern Set, thank you for sending an ice cream sundae to the Containment Hazard Assessment team. I am sure they will find it delicious. And now Site-42 staff, thank you for another iteration of Dr. Sherman's Office Hours, a subsidiary of the anonymous broadcast from Site-42. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. Be safe, be well, and as always, secure, contain, protect. And I'll see you in the next video or stream. Furthermore, last two things. Leica Rising, thank you for sending a lucky clover to the chat. I'm sure it will increase their luck. And interestingly enough, intern Shiver the Iguana, DJ in the chat, just happens to be a fan of the AEED as well. It looks like you have another AEED fan to discuss that group with. Did I tell you where I am? 'Cause you would have to know. on a cold floor in Japan. After we played a show, I can tell you all of your bad days, 'cause you won't let them go. I can tell you all of your bad days. And here's the worst, you take them down to all over me. All these words have come back to me. If you're worried, how would I know? It's the last thing that we should do, to be cordoned off over you. If you're worried, how would I know? How would I know? The credit song is Let Go of Your Bad Days by the Saltines. Be safe, be well, Site 42 staff. And as always, secure, contain, protect.